Inside the Pepsi Arena in downtown Albany, as the Citizens Bank MAAC Championship Tournament is just about to get underway. The starting lineup is brought to you by I Love New York. What a great vacation, ilovenewyork.com.
And as we said, Jason Thompson back into the starting lineup, and that is a huge lift for Ryder.
Quentin Martin, Todd Sowell, Keedron Clark, Raul Orta, and Kevin Spann, the starting five for St. Peter's. Our keys to the game, obviously, if you're Ryder, all of the attention focuses on Kiki Clark.
Every time you're playing St. Peter's, the keys begin with Kiki. You got to wear him down, you got to body him up, bang him, and force him to defend. For Ryder, they've got to minimize their meltdowns. A young team, at times, they've given the basketball away in some inopportune stretches. For St. Peter's, you got to make sure that you involve everybody. And if you're Kiki Clark, forget about 3,000 points. He needs 37 coming into the game. The easiest way to get to 3,000, play a couple basketball games here in Albany.
This is true. Play deep into the weekend. Those keys brought to you by Verizon Wireless, as the Peacocks, as the higher seed, will play in their home white uniforms with the blue lettering and trim. And the Ryder Bronx, after having finished in 10th place during the regular year and a 4-14 record in MAAC play, wear their road uniforms here in Albany. And you see the series history brought to you by Pontiac, and the Peacocks with a slim margin against their Garden State rivals.
And strangely enough, they met in the last game of the regular season, but Jason Thompson did not play in that game. A win for St. Peter's, 77-64.
Thompson will jump center against Sowell, and the 2006 MAAC tournament is underway. The winner of this game will move on to round two and take on Siena tomorrow night here in Albany. Spann works the point. Keedron Clark, the leading scorer in the MAAC, is number 3 in white. Keep your eyes on him. He's the 8th leading scorer in the history of the NCAA. And with a halfway decent first half here tonight, he will move ahead of Oscar Robertson on the all-time list. Sowell off the feed from Clark gets the scoring underway.
And that's very important. Kiki Clark gets doubled, gets rid of the basketball early on. He needs his teammates to step up and give him good scoring balance, as they had in the win against Ryder last time out.
Pierce at the point, backs it out for the Bronx. Ryder is from Lawrenceville, New Jersey, outside of Trenton. St. Peter's is from Jersey City, just across the river from Manhattan. Strong drive to the basket. Off the mark by Mansell. He pulls it back out. Ryder with a fresh shot clock. Offensive foul. Charge against Ryder.
And Pierce got himself too deep into the lane. The freshman point guard, who's been playing some of his best basketball coming down the stretch, over-penetrated and picked up the charge.
First foul of the game goes against Rodney Pierce, the 6'2 freshman guard from Buffalo, who missed 4 games during the season with an ankle injury. He's back now pretty much 100%. Raul Orta penetrates and kicks it back out to Spann. Nice look inside. Quentin Martin had it blocked from behind by Edwin Munoz, and here comes Pierce in the Bronx. Bad pass knocked out of bounds by Orta. Ryder will keep possession.
And both these teams like to get up and down. Certainly will spot up from beyond the three-point line once they get themselves out in transition.
Now this is just the start of the long weekend in Albany. For the 12th time in the 25 years of this league, the tournament has been held here at this arena. Used to be known as the Knickerbocker Arena and has been the Pepsi Arena since. St. Peter's with the ball in a 2-point lead. Keedron Clark with his first field goal attempt. It's off the mark, and Munoz the rebound for the Bronx.
And again, he's got unlimited range. You got to guard him everywhere.
The lob to Thompson. He lays it in.
Well, and certainly Thompson, one of the more talented underclassmen in the league, just a sophomore. Really a guy whose best basketball still is well ahead of him. Once again, Ryder getting back into the zone defense. They've switched up between man and zone each possession so far.
Well, as we talked about in the open, Rob, Thompson did not play in the regular season finale for Ryder after suffering a concussion in their penultimate game against Loyola. Keedron Clark off the up fake. Can't get the roll on the 2. Sowell gets rejected. Quentin Martin, though, with the little mid-range jump shot, and it's 4-2 St. Peter's.
And Martin's been giving him a spark here in the last 4 or 5 games. One of the reasons why he's gotten himself back into the starting lineup.
Thompson kicks to the corner, and the baseline jump shot comes up short by Harris Mansell. Span, the heir apparent at the point for St. Peter's, gives to Sowell, who had an easy look but missed it.
And he's got to finish that. Great play by Span to get him an easy shot.
Munoz, the senior from Passaic, New Jersey, misfires.
And he can be the X factor for Ryder. He's a guy that's got to step up and deliver here in his senior year. Really has not had as good a year as he or his coaches had hoped for.
Sowell given room by Thompson, who got a piece, maybe got a piece of the hand on the shot. Sowell's come out a little bit cold here in the early going.
And he's a guy who doesn't get a whole lot of touches out of their half-court offense. He gets most of his scoring, averaging nearly 12 points per game off the offensive board.
3.5 minutes in. Munoz this time given enough room, and he knocks down the three.
And showing you confidence. Missed badly on his first shot, but stepped right into it there on his second.
Well, he averages nearly 15 points per game and shoots at 34% from beyond the arc. So head coach Tommy Dempsey encourages him to shoot it up. Sowell, meanwhile, stays cold, missing the 10-foot jump shot.
Well, trying to establish the big guy early on, see if they can't play a little inside out.
Thompson with a sweet reverse, and he showed there you don't need a dribble when you're that big to cover that much ground.
And that long. He is so long at his size at 6'10", quick off his feet, able to get to the other side of the rim. Not many players in this league can make that finish all the way at the other side of the rim without the bounce.
Take another look at the 6', 10-inch sophomore from Mount Laurel, New Jersey, covering some ground.
Well, good seal, nice post feed right there by Paul Johnson to find Thompson inside.
Well, tonight's coaching matchup brought to you by Anaconda Sports and The Rock. And in this first game of the 2006 MAAC basketball tournament, we have a veteran, longtime head coach against a rookie, first-year head coach at the Division I level. On the left, Tommy Dempsey, actually the interim head coach at Rider University, and then Bob Leckie on the right. In his 6th year as the head coach at his alma mater, St. Peter's, The Rock, the official basketball of the MAAC. Span, Orta, and Clark work the perimeter for St. Peter's.
And once again, attacking against the zone, you got to make sure that you find Kiki Clark as well as Orta from beyond the three-point line.
Paul Johnson did a nice job of closing out on Orta, making it a tough try from the perimeter. And the Bronx up 3. Munoz comes up well short. Martin got a hand in his face.
In the last game, St. Peter's had good success playing a lot of zone in the second half. On makes, Riders had success in the zone. On missed shots, back in a straight man-to-man.
Kevin Span, the youngster from Long Island, buries the 3.
And when other guys besides Kiki Clark can step up and make shots, it certainly alleviates some of the pressure against Clark, because now you've got to worry about other guys out on the perimeter as well.
5 minutes in, Keedron Clark is yet to score, missing his 2 field goal attempts. We're tied at 7. Jason Thompson barely nicks iron. Munoz misses the putback. Martin clears the glass. Span to Sowell, uses the up fake to free himself, but then misses badly. Thompson the rebound for the Bronx.
And Thompson bothered him.
Munoz over the head pass to Thompson. Gets it knocked away on the way up by Sowell. And here comes Keedron Clark. Goes around Mansell. Still with the dribble. And the help defense comes over, and Paul Johnson picks up the block shot. We are neck and neck in the early going as the MAAC basketball tournament has gotten underway. Keedron Clark still scoreless, but you know that's going to change before too long. Rider and St. Peter's tied early at 7. Neither team distinguishing itself in the early going at the offensive end. Neither team shooting well, but maybe the defense has something to do with it, Rob.
Oh, terrific feed right here by Munoz. Thompson takes too long to get rid of the basketball, and by the time he does, Sowell just holding his ground. He's got terrific size, doing a good job defending in the post.
Well, at one end, Jason Thompson is only 2 for 5 from the floor, but Sowell at the other end, only 1 for 7.
And 7 shot attempts for him is a ton. Kiki Clark getting his first basket here in the MAAC tournament.
He is a postgraduate senior, 5'10", 170-pound guard out of Rice High School.
That's postgraduate. In 3.5 years, he's done so many great things on the basketball court, doing it in the classroom as well.
Munoz on the post. He's got 5.
Munoz showing you a new do. Shaved head, trying to see if he can get a little excitement heading into his last MAAC tournament.
Well, Mouton has come into the game as Keedron Clark hits the 3, and now that you mention it, there are a lot of hairs that are missing on the top of heads for the Ryder Bronx.
Everybody, Pierce said, you know what, you guys get excited that way. I'm keeping my hair.
Pierce still has the braids, but everybody else pretty closely shaved up top.
And how about Kiki Clark? No points at our first TV timeout. He's got 5 quick ones.
Orta grabs the air ball, and here comes Keedron Clark.
And apparently Pierce is not Samson with that hair as he throws up the air ball.
Span buries the 3, his second of the game, and just like that, it's a 6-point St. Peter's lead.
Well, Span and Clark are buddies in the buddy system they have, and certainly no player on this St. Peter's team has benefited more from playing with Kiki Clark than has Kevin Span.
And you had a chance, Rob, to talk to Keedron Clark about that and many other things before the ball game, and we'll have that interview for you at halftime. Ishmael Traore with a rebound for the Peacocks. As you see, the Peacocks on an 11-2 run. Orta trying to extend that.
And the run got started with this guy. He's a guy that can create team runs by himself.
There you get a taste of some of the amazing numbers that Keedron Clark has put up in his 4 years at St. Peter's.
And he's just been so incredibly consistent. You see 26.2 points per game. How about his MAAC tournament numbers? 26.6. Each and every year he's hovered around 25, 26 points per game. And he's been a marked man for 4 years.
And he has closed out his senior season in style during MAAC play this year, Rob, averaging 29 points per game, and he needed that surge to ensure himself a 3rd straight MAAC regular season scoring title.
Hey, he was chasing Andre Collins all season long. Stevie Burt right up there as well, who said in the open 3 of the top 6 scorers in the country are here in the MAAC. 2 of them were high school teammates back at Rice High School.
And Keedron Clark now with 7 points. He's 3 away from catching Oscar Robertson for 7th on the all-time list in college basketball history.
Yeah, the numbers and the people who he has passed here in the last couple weeks are really mind-boggling.
Munoz fouled by Traore on the entry pass.
And you see Kiki showing you his leadership ability and his leadership skills as well. Not just scoring the basketball, but making sure that he's the undisputed leader of this team, getting after people, making sure everybody, especially the young guys, are where they're supposed to be.
Munoz, nice job getting it out of the double team. Mouton off the mark. Keedron Clark the rebound. Well, the first time these two teams met back in January this year, Keedron Clark went for a triple-double, the only time that's happened in school history, and that was in a game where both teams in overtime went to triple digits.
Yeah, and it's not like he had 10 points, 10 rebounds, 10 assists. Had 39 points, 10 rebounds, 10 assists.
He is capable of putting points up in a hurry. 43 as his season high. Late in February. Keedron misses on the 3. Thompson tipped it out of bounds. St. Peter's will keep possession. When we come back, we'll turn back the clock and take a look back at a great moment in St. Peter's College basketball history. The Peacocks have opened up an 8-point lead as we celebrate the 25-year anniversary of the MAAC. Let's take a look back at a great moment in St. Peter's history. It could make you feel like dancing. Coach Ted Fiore's St. Peter's Peacocks topped Iona in the 1991 MAAC Championship. It was the program's first conference title. Up next was their first trip to the biggest dance in the land, the NCAA tournament. And that was a tremendous moment that happened right here at this building, then called the Knickerbocker Arena. But Marvin Andrews was the physical glue to that team, and Ted Fiore really left a tremendous mark on this program.
Certainly so, and continuing his coaching career right now at Montclair State.
Kinsey Reeves, a 6'11" junior from Alaska into the game for St. Peter's with the first 2 points of his night. And it's a 10-point St. Peter's lead. The Peacocks come back off the turnover.
Certainly Riders got to minimize their turnovers, especially not allowing St. Peter's to get out for easy ones off those turnovers.
And St. Peter's has opened up a 21-9 lead. Sowell with the inside bucket.
And nice interior feed from Reeves to find Sowell. Sowell getting a ton of touches in the low post here in the early going. A guy who really doesn't get a whole lot of touches out of their offense usually.
He's already taken 8 shots. Munoz takes his 7th, but misfires from the baseline. And Ryder, nearly midway through the first half, is only stuck on 9 points. And Rob, they've got to find a way to generate some offense here.
And they're struggling, not finding guys knocking down shots. And certainly Munoz at times trying to take it on his own shoulders. Can't force things, let things come to you.
Kevin Spann, a little trouble with the handle, gets it back out. Kamandre O's has come into the game for the Peacocks. And Keedron Clark now at the point, hands off to Spann.
And Ryder throughout this season has had these long stretches of scoring droughts and combining turnover after turnover. It looks like they're in one of those stretches right now.
O's was the last to touch off his own miss, and Ryder will get the ball back. Well, the three-point shot is the great equalizer. When the other team is cold and you string together a few threes, you can open up the lead quickly.
Well, absolutely, and the ability of Kiki Clark to step as deep as he needs to, and then Kevin Spann, a perfect 2 for 2 from beyond the 3 as well. They're 3 for 6 from beyond the three-point line. Ryder struggling for deep, just 1 for 5.
So they go inside to their star player, Jason Thompson, and he lays it in. He's got 6 of the 11 Ryder points.
And if they're going to make threes, play a little inside out, pound the basketball into Thompson. He's gotten 6 field goal attempts already. Continue to go and play through him. He is their best player.
Clark, quick off the dribble, protects the ball nicely back out to O's.
And he recognized he had a mismatch on the perimeter, puts it to the floor, and gets by him.
Shot clock at 11. O's pulls it back out to Spann. Reeves with the high screen, and perhaps that time Spann was a little bit out of his own three-point range, came up well short.
Not only was he out of his range, but he forced that one. Each of the first 2 threes from Spann were within the context of their offense. Here's Ryder's offense. They've got to make sure they pound the basketball inside to Thompson. Good finish with his left hand. Again, he's so long, able to finish at the other side of the rim.
Lob to Thompson, but he can't finish. This time he does. He's got 8 points early.
And as he gets bigger and stronger up top, Doug, he's going to continue to finish more plays like that. That's the one thing he really needs to work on, his upper body strength.
Well, Thompson was a second-team All-MAAC selection. The awards came out on Monday, and actually, as we speak, they are just about to announce the Player of the Year, the Coach of the Year, and the Rookie of the Year awards here at the Pepsi Arena. We'll let you know as soon as we find out. Munoz with the jump shot.
And again, you can sense the urgency for Munoz. He's been very aggressive on the offensive end. See him right there with Tommy Dempsey, and you got to make sure that you don't get a little too juiced and a little too hyped. After their last meeting against St. Peter's, Tommy Dempsey said he walked into my office the next day and said, "Coach, you know what? I'm going to play well here in this tournament. Not going to let you down." Here's a guy who hasn't let them down in the early going. Thompson getting it done inside, and there's Munoz, the senior, talking about, "I'm going to step up and play a big weekend up here in Albany." And certainly he's been aggressive. He's gotten a ton of shot up already.
Well, they're the only 2 players who've scored so far for Ryder. Thompson with 8, Munoz with 7 for their 15 points, and they've cut the double-figure lead back down to 6 with 8:43 left in the first half. In our first game of a triple header of basketball, as the opening round of the MAAC tournament is underway.
And surprisingly so, Kiki Clark hasn't gotten many good looks against the zone defense. They've done a good job of shading to him when he's in their area.
Peacocks trying to break a dry spell here. They haven't scored in about 3 minutes. Orta hits the pull-up.
A tough shot. 2 defenders on him, but got into a gap against the zone. Orta's had a fine first year here at St. Peter's, a member of the MAAC All-Rookie team.
Offensive foul against Ryder. Jason Thompson picks up the charge. Quentin Martin drew the charge.
And certainly Thompson's got good ball skills, but you're not going to be able to dribble drive all the way from beyond the three-point line. Good defense there by Martin to give up his body. He certainly had good defensive positioning to pick up that charge.
Clark with the runner in the paint. Sowell was after it, as was Johnson, and the Bronx will have possession when we come back to the Pepsi Arena in Albany. St. Peter's has itself an 8-point lead in this opening round game against Rider.
Welcome to Marist College, a liberal arts college bridging the traditions of the past with the tools of the future. Drawing inspiration from the historical, cultural, and artistic heritage of the Hudson River Valley, and supported by a unique partnership with its neighbor, IBM, Marist College holds fast to the timeless values of its rich heritage, while embracing advanced technology in the service of education.
St. Peter's has an 8-point lead over Rider in this opening game of the MAAC basketball tournament. And our Broadway marketing mind-bending trivia question is, what school was the last to sweep MAAC Player, MAAC Rookie, and MAAC Coach of the Year honors? We'll have the answer for you in a couple of minutes. Broadway marketing mind-bending branded solutions.
St. Peter's up in the full court pressure, and it bothers Rider. Nearly had a 5-second violation trying to inbound the basketball against the press.
Well, even though it's the end of their freshman seasons, Rider still does rely quite heavily on freshmen in the backcourt. Mouton is a junior. He's the one experienced player, but he is not as much a ball handler as the others. Thompson runs into a brick wall and nonetheless is into double figures with 10.
And he was looking for the foul on that. A lot of contact. We saw pressure from St. Peter's. Now it's Rider who extends the pressure.
O's double team. As you see, Keedron Clark, not surprisingly, with the 7 points so far. So well with the 6 rebounds, no surprise in that one either.
No, but Clark has struggled to get his 7 points, not shot the basketball well here in the early going. Just 2 for 7 from the floor.
Clark, Orta, O's, Martin, and Sowell on the floor for St. Peter's. The winner of this one faces Siena in round 2 tomorrow night. Orta's pass mishandled by Sowell, and Munoz comes away with it for the Rider Bronx. Mouton misses badly off the dribble. O's pushing it back the other way.
And that was a forced shot. Not a good decision with the basketball.
Orta inside to Sowell. Nice strong move that time, and he's able to convert.
After missing a couple easy ones early on, now all of a sudden Sowell stepping up, giving him a good inside scoring punch.
6 points for the sophomore out of Brooklyn. Paul Johnson squares nicely. He's got a terrific shot from the perimeter, but just can't get the roll on the first one. And it goes out of bounds back to St. Peter's.
Here's why Jason Thompson's so important for Rider to have back on the floor. They lost against St. Peter's last time without him. He's so long, runs the floor. He's got good bounce inside. As we said, as he develops a little bit of upper body strength, he'll finish those plays consistently. Doing a good job here in the early going, making his presence felt inside.
Well, that regular season finale you talk of, Rob, was last Sunday. 77-64 was the score. St. Peter's got the win. Paul Johnson on senior day went for a dozen, but Rider, as you might expect, really had trouble generating offense, especially without Thompson in the paint.
And Thompson had 28 the first time these two teams met, so obviously you see his ability to change the game with him out on the floor.
Keedron Clark, after a very quick rest, comes back into the game for St. Peter's.
Kiki in the early going has really deferred to his teammates. You see a conscious effort to try and get other guys involved.
Keedron averages 26.6 points per game, most in the MAAC and third most in the country. He trails the 2 guys who, oh, by the way, are on the cover of Sports Illustrated this week. J.J. Redick of Duke and Adam Morrison of Gonzaga.
Those guys having a great battle, not only for the National Player of the Year awards, but for the National Scoring Champion. And that's something you don't usually see.
Here's Thompson, who leads all scorers defers that time, but Mansell wasn't ready for it. Right through his hands. Orta takes it coast to coast for 2.
And good decision because nobody stopped him. He had Kiki running with him. You figure he's going to drop it off, but nobody stopped him. Got the ability to get all the way to the rim.
And it's back to a double-digit lead, 27-17, St. Peter's.
And again, double-digit lead with other guys stepping up. They've had good balance. They've involved everybody out.
There's that terrific shooting touch for the senior from Virginia Beach, Virginia. Paul Johnson with his first field goal tonight.
And he has really made himself into a very solid three-point shooter here in his senior season.
Sure, 4th in the MAAC at 45%. Keidron Clark with the floater, he's got 9.
And especially when you trap and get into those situations, now Clark can just take over because there's not a marked man on him. Terrific ball handler. Gets himself out of the trap and finds an easy shot.
Well, late in the regular season, he passed former Kansas All-American Danny Manning on the all-time scoring list. He's about to catch Oscar Robertson. Munoz having a terrific start to the ball game. He's got 9.
And you can see playing with a ton of confidence. Every time the ball leaves his hands, he thinks it's going in.
St. Peter's by 7 with the ball.
One thing this zone does as well is it slows down the pace for St. Peter.
Tend to shoot. Orta with a nice up fake into the lane with the left hand, and he's fouled by Thompson. You think of Raul Orta more as a spot-up jump shooter, but we've seen in transition the last time, and this time in the half-court set, able to put it on the floor, and part of that is his teammate Keidron Clark, who draws so much of the defensive attention. Kiki with 9 points, and St. Peter's has a 7-point lead with timeout on the floor. St. Peter's maintaining that 7-point lead late in the first half, and let's get back to our Broadway Marketing mind-bending trivia question. When was the last time one school swept all of the MAAC awards, the Player, the Rookie, and the Coach of the Year awards? Now, you don't have to turn back the clock too far as we give you the answer. 2002, Mario Porter, Jerry Johnson, and the man on your screen right there, the then head coach at Rider University, now the interim athletics director, Don Harnum. The answer to the Broadway Marketing trivia question, mind-bending branded solutions.
And this week, Don Harnum announcing that he is going to continue through the process as far as interviews are concerned for the athletic director's position. And certainly it's been a difficult season for both he and Tommy Dempsey. Dempsey is former assistant coach in the interim head coaching position, but both guys have handled it very well, and Tom Dempsey's done a terrific job. You look at their record, you see 8-19, but what he's done is he's kept this team together under difficult circumstances, and when you look at the effort that his team has showed coming down the stretch, despite all the losses, it shows that he never lost this team.
Raul Orta with a couple of free throws. And it's back to a 9-point game, 31-22.
Off the made foul shots, St. Peter's up in the full court pressure. Both teams have mixed up their defenses, not allowing either team to get into a consistent flow in a half-court offense. St. Peter's now back into the zone.
Jason Thompson not in the ball game for Rider. He's the high scorer in the game with 10, and without him, Rider turns it over.
And once again, the zone bothers them as it did last time down at Lawrenceville, where they played a ton of zone in the second half coming down the stretch. One of the reasons why they got the double-digit win.
That was the 5th turnover of the game so far for Rider. Only 2 turnovers through the first 17 minutes for St. Peter's.
But at least the turnovers so far for Rider haven't turned into quick baskets at the other end.
Shot clock down to 7. Span backdoor to Kiki Clark and move over Big O. Keidron is now 7th on the all-time NCAA scoring list.
And how about Kevin Span and his emergence as a true point guard coming down the stretch here this season? What a terrific play for him to make sure he found his buddy.
You talked about the buddy system, senior to freshman, and that time it was freshman to senior. Munoz draws the double team. Mouton gives it to Johnson in the corner. Good ball movement. Got a nice look. And then a foul on the rebound.
A great offensive possession, as you said, Doug. The extra pass with the good ball movement got Paul Johnson a wide open look in the corner. Here's this great play by Span. Driving at the defender. You freeze him there. as far as the defense out on the wing. With that basket, Kiki Clark moves by another of the all-time greats, passes the Big O.
Hersey Hawkins is next, and with a big second half, he could even catch Hersey, but more likely he'd be looking to catch him tomorrow against Siena if St. Peter's is to win this ball game. St. Peter's by 11. The biggest lead for the Peacocks has been 12, back at 21-9.
And the problem, if you're Ryder, you've got a double-digit lead, and Kiki hasn't gone off here. It's been his teammates, the kids, who have stepped up and had a big first half.
And again, Ryder has only gotten scoring from 3 different players. Sowell with the little baby hook, he's got 8.
Well, they elect to not double down on him, just play isolation straight up one-on-one. Sowell has plenty of time to be able to make a move. You see he's had a very productive first half. He's got 13 double-doubles on the season. Looks like he's well on his way to number 14.
Well, he is looking to become the first St. Peter's player in 31 years to average a double-double.
And look how long it takes him. He's got plenty of time because there's no double coming. You can't double off Kiki Clark. Span's knocking down threes. Can't double off Orta. That allows Sowell plenty of time to finish it inside.
Raul Orta takes a break after having scored 6 points here in the first half with just under a minute until the intermission. And keep in mind, at halftime, we'll have Rob's interview with Keidron Clark. They sat down and chatted just before the start of this MAAC basketball tournament this afternoon. They touched on a number of interesting topics.
Well, he's an easy guy to interview and talk to. He's such a great kid.
Here comes Clark. Takes a look at the shot clock, and he's about to fire up a shot. Nope, instead he bounces it inside, untouched. Martin couldn't get there, and so the shot clock goes off. Ryder gets it back off the turnover.
Well, he's so good with the basketball, at times he doesn't get hand check calls. You know, sometimes all of a sudden you're going, your hand checked, you bump, and now the ball goes off your foot. You get that whistle. He's so good with the ball that at times the officials, and you see right there, Bobby Leckie saying that's a grab, that's a hand check. He's always begging for that call. One of the reasons he doesn't get it a lot, though, is he never turns it over. Here's this isolation. You figure he's going by him. Just good, solid defense by Mouton.
Nice idea by Clark, yep. But Martin was not heading in that direction. Didn't think he was going to get that bounce pass. And so Ryder gets a chance at the end of the half to break a little drought. They haven't scored since 4:09 of this first half, so 3.5 minutes they've gone dry, and the deficit is 13 points.
This is a team that has consistently dug themselves big holes and has made runs to get themselves back into ball games. They're down 20 earlier this year at home against Niagara, came back and won. We saw them deep in the hole against Loyola, force overtime. I mean, this is a team that, because they're so young, at times doesn't pay attention to time and score, and certainly have shown the ability to make comebacks throughout the season.
Rob, we talked about St. Peter's opened up this lead on the strength of three-point shooting. Ryder's a team that loves to shoot the three. In fact, over 40% of their field goal attempts are from beyond the arc. So when they are on, they can make up points in a hurry. Mansell gets it knocked away. 5 seconds to go in the half. Pierce gets it knocked away. Here comes Keidron Clark, but he stepped on the sideline and he very nearly banked it in from 50 feet.
And you expect it to go in when it leaves his hands. That's the problem.
Big smile for Kiki.
Good solid defense by St. Peter's, being aggressive, defending out on the perimeter.
And so now with 1.9 seconds to go in the first half, Bob Leckie takes Keidron Clark out. Thompson with the turnaround. It's no good, and St. Peter's is 20 minutes away from surviving round one and moving on to round two with a comfortable double-digit lead, 35-22, and Keidron Clark into the locker room with 11 points already. We'll take a break, and our halftime show's coming up, including that candid interview with Keidron Kiki Clark, the all-time leading scorer in the history of the MAAC.
It's a college in the city.
A college in the country.
It's big.
It's small.
It's modern.
Traditional.
It's Frisbee on the quad.
It's big-time basketball at the Garden.
It's the best of all worlds.
Manhattan College.
A world-class faculty and student body on a beautiful, quiet campus.
Minutes from the center of everything.
So come be a part of it. Manhattan College.
The best of all worlds.
A couple of Garden State rivals ready for the start of the second half. St. Peter's with a double-figure lead over Ryder. And Thompson and Munoz doing their job, but the backcourt and the rest of their teammates really need to pick it up.
Yeah, the only other person to score was Paul Johnson with a 3 in the corner. Their backcourt 0 for 7. They've got to step up and make some shots.
Meanwhile, for St. Peter's, as you talked about, Rob, Keedron Clark really didn't go off, yet you've still got a double-figure lead, and he penetrates, creates, Orta knocks down another 3.
And he has really made a conscious effort here in the early going to get his teammates involved. He's passed up a couple shots to make sure that he's gotten his teammates into the flow.
Well, Clark does lead all scorers with 11. Orta's got 9. Sowell has 8. Thompson with a big finish on the putback. He's got a dozen.
Now long and bouncy, quick off his feet, and he's so long, he's got the ability to finish above the rim. He's one of those guys, as we said, as he gets bigger and stronger up top, he could be a special player in this league.
Sowell at the high post. Goes up and over Thompson, but just like the start of the game, Thompson forced him into a tough shot, and he missed it.
Clark with a speed rebound. His quickness able to track it down off the miss.
Span with the open shot from the head of the key.
And when he's had open shots and hasn't forced them, he's knocked down his threes. 3 for 4 from beyond the stripe.
Mouton is the guy for Ryder. If you're looking for a perimeter player to step up, this is him with the basketball. He averages 12 per game, and then he passes up the open 17-footer.
And he's a guy who's had good games against St. Peter's this year. You're right, they've got to get somebody else, an X factor, to step up and make shots to be able to match Kiki Clark and St. Peter's, who right now are on a run, running out to the 20-point lead.
If they don't come up with an answer soon, St. Peter's will have this one in its hip pocket. We'll take a break with 18:08 left to go in the second half. Our Star Watch performers both starring, but it's the Peacocks behind Keedron Clark with a big advantage. (44-24) Ryder down 20, trying to pull off a miraculous comeback in the final 18 minutes here. They don't want the season to end on a Friday night in Albany, but things continue to go bad for Tommy Dempsey's club.
Again, the guard's not stepping up. So much made of this young freshman backcourt for Ryder, but it's been the young first-year backcourt for St. Peter's that's had a much better game.
Oh, we went to break showing you the 2 stars from the Star Watch. Both of them are playing well here tonight. Unfortunately for Jason Thompson, his teammates, for the most part, are not helping him out much. Clark fouled on the reach-in by Mansell.
And here's where it really becomes tough against St. Peter's. You're down by 20. You got to go trap and chase. Well, when you chase Kiki Clark, you're not going to catch him. And this year, nobody caught him in the Player of the Year race as well. As expected, Kiki Clark named the MAAC Player of the Year, and certainly a very well-deserved award for Kiki Clark.
There was a timeout there, no foul. Bob Leckie called the quick timeout. But as you say, Kiki Clark, 2-time preseason Player of the Year. Last year got beaten out for the postseason award by Niagara's Juan Mendez, but this year, number 3 for SPC gets the top award. There you see the display at the Yanatelli Center in Jersey City, New Jersey. The 2-time defending scoring champ. He had a chance and still does have a chance. Statistically speaking, to catch Pistol Pete Maravich and Oscar Robertson is the only 3-time NCAA scoring champs. And as we talked about, Adam Morrison and J.J. Redick probably will not be caught, but as the 3rd leading scorer in the country this year, he's still doing himself very, very proud and won his 3rd straight MAAC scoring title.
And he's not going to win the U.S. scoring title, but it's not as if his numbers have dropped down.
Not at all.
He averaged 26 points per game last year. He's averaging 26 points per game this year. It's just that 2 guys have had incredible seasons in Adam Morrison and J.J. Redick.
Thompson is fouled by Sowell. Now we can pass it along to you, the other MAAC award winners, as they were just announced here at the Pepsi Arena. Well, Keedron Clark is the Player of the Year, the Coach of the Year, Manhattan's Bobby Gonzalez.
And a bit of a surprise as well. Fran McCaffrey with a tremendous season this year. for Siena. They were preseason picked to finish in 10th, but certainly Bobby Gonzalez walking away with the Coach of the Year award for his team winning the championship after C.J. Anderson went down.
Here's Orta to span from 20 feet.
And again, it's the freshman backcourt of St. Peter's stepping up. Orta and Span, they've been the story, certainly outplaying the freshman backcourt for Rider, who comes in with a lot of notoriety, in Pierce, Mansell, and Lamar Johnson.
Mansell steps inside the three-point line. He's still scoreless. Orta with the rebound. And Orta, along with Keedron Clark, combine as the fifth leading scoring guard duo in the NCAA. And the number one team is the Iona backcourt of Ricky Soliver and Steve Burke. But this St. Peter's backcourt can put up points in a hurry, especially this guy, Keedron Clark.
And again, he's done a great job deferring here so far tonight. And we've seen that throughout his career. Early in the game, he'll defer to his teammates. And then late in the game, as well as late in the shot clock, he steps up and dominates.
With the shot clock at 4, Clark does force that one. And Rider gets the ball back off the rebound. When we come back, we'll take a look back at a great moment in Rider University basketball history. Right now, not so great, down by 24. We're back in Albany, where St. Peter's has itself a comfortable lead over Rider University. And as we celebrate the 25-year anniversary of the MAAC, let's take a look back at a great moment in Rider history. The Bronx were Northeast Conference rookies and rookies in the conference tournament final. Rider's all-time leading scorer, Derek Suber, provided the heroics, sending Alumni Gymnasium into a frenzy and sending the Bronx into the NCAA tournament. What a scene. That was an unbelievable day of basketball down in Lawrenceville.
They still call it the shot. Derek Zuber certainly was a guy that helped put the Rider basketball program on the map. Kevin Bannon was the head coach at that time. Don Harnum, his assistant, when they hit that incredible game winner.
Johnson and Thompson went after it and lost it out of bounds. Well, we told you a moment ago about Keedron Clark being named the 2006 MAAC Player of the Year. There you see Bobby Gonzalez of Manhattan, the Coach of the Year. Cliff Brown, even though he's moved into the starting lineup recently for Niagara, did enough as the top reserve. Ricky Soliver of Iona, the top defender. And then the landslide as the top Rookie of the Year, the freshman from Siena, Kenny Hasbrook.
And one of the reasons why Siena has gotten themselves a first-round bye. Bobby Gonzalez, Coach of the Year. You know that was a close vote between he and Fran McCaffrey. Both those guys did a great job with their teams this year.
Keedron Clark, the MAAC Player of the Year, now with 17 points here. And, you know, you wonder if that game on last Sunday, the regular season finale down at Dratty Gym, hadn't gone the way it had gone and really turned into be one of the epics in the 25-year history of the MAAC, if that vote might have gone a different way.
Absolutely. And as we said, coming into this season, Siena was the preseason pick to finish in 10th. They finished in 4th. But with that game and with Manhattan getting themselves their third regular season championship in 4 years, and the fashion in which they did it without their best player, C.J. Anderson, certainly, as we said during that broadcast, thought it was Bobby Gonzalez's best coaching job. He gets rewarded for that job, being named MAAC Coach of the Year.
Well, Brother Scanlon, the president of Manhattan College, who has seen all the Jasper games for many, many years, said that was the best he's seen on campus. That was the best game that they have had in Jasper's history in Riverdale. Clark off the mark on the 3. And we will take a look back in just a couple of moments at that terrific game from last Sunday. Packed house, both student sections going crazy. The folks from New Rochelle came down in force, and we'll revisit that in what was clearly the game of the year in the MAAC regular season as we take another look at the foul called against Todd Sowell. Edwin Munoz for the Bronx at the line.
Munoz, one of those seniors, has had a fine career here at Rider. top 15 all-time in scoring, over 1,300 points, and terrific feat ahead by his senior teammate Paul Johnson, who has had his best season by far as a Rider Bronc here in his senior year. And coming down the stretch in conference tournaments, these seniors end up seeing their college career come to an end. And certainly the seniors have showed up tonight. And Johnson's played fairly well. Certainly Muñez has shown good aggressive offensive play. It's just been their guards, the freshmen who have carried Tommy Dempsey's team for long stretches throughout the year. They just no-showed here in this first round game.
Well, the senior class a year ago for Rider has gone on to some terrific things. Jerry Johnson was the first-team All-Star guard and playing professionally over in Europe now. Quentin Martin with a layup over Thompson. Steve Castleberry, the center for the Rider Broncs, wound up having a cup of coffee in the preseason with the NBA's Philadelphia 76ers.
And certainly, how about the game by span here? The freshmen just taking things over. But as we talk about those 4 players from Rider, I mean, that's 4,000 points that you graduate. Everybody knew coming into this season it was going to be a rebuilding year for Rider, but with the athleticism and the leadership you knew that you were going to get from Muñez, and certainly Thompson with his great freshman year, Johnson coming back, you know, it was enough for the coaches to pick this Rider team in the preseason to finish 5th during the regular season. That might have been a little bit too high, but certainly it has not turned out to be the year that Rider had hoped.
Well, we saw a moment ago St. Peter's took Todd Sowell out of the ball game, and it looks like he catching a quick break. And is it too early in the ball game in this round 1 to start thinking about round 2 in terms of saving legs, Rob?
No, because if you're going to win the championship, if you're St. Peter's, you've got to win 4 games in 4 days, so you've got to utilize your bench.
There's a three-pointer by Lamar Johnson, a freshman from Scranton, PA.
And certainly Johnson, one of those guys that can score it quickly and score it from beyond the 3. Talked about the fact that Rider has made a number of comebacks throughout this season. If they're going to have another comeback, it's got to come on the strength of knocking down 3-point shots.
St. Peter's 54, Rider 31. The Peacocks jumped to a quick double-figure lead early in the ball game at 21-9. And although Rider did cut that lead a little bit later in the first half, by and large, the Broncs have been down double figures this entire night.
And here's where they got to string a couple together. They've got to get themselves on a run. Solid defense by Span again to stop it.
In 1982, Iona College won the first MAAC men's basketball championship with a 66-61 win in overtime against St. Peter's at the Meadowlands. Iona and St. Peter's, along with MAAC charter member Fordham University, became the first men's basketball programs from the conference to compete in postseason play. They all went to the 1982 NIT.
Yeah, MAAC tournament. The MAAC is a new league, did not have an automatic bid that year. So despite the fact that Iona won 24 games, they did not go to the NCAA tournament, but joined St. Peter's and Fordham in the NIT.
And you were in attendance.
Yeah, I was at
back
that
in the
game.
day.
Tell you what, there weren't a whole lot of people in the Meadowlands building that day, but it was a great game. St. Peter's came in as the #1 seed. They ran through the MAAC at 9-1 during the regular season. And Rory Grimes had a tremendous tournament, ended up being named MVP as Iona won their first of 6 MAAC championships, the most in MAAC history.
11:30 to go, second half, and a foul against Kevin Span of St. Peter's. We've got a media timeout, so we'll step away from the Pepsi Arena. Kinsey Reeves, the 6'11 Alaskan, playing big here in Albany, New York, in the first round of the MAAC tournament.
Welcome to Marist College, a liberal arts college bridging the traditions of the past with the tools of the future. Drawing inspiration from the historical, cultural, and artistic heritage of the Hudson River Valley, and supported by a unique partnership with its neighbor, IBM, Marist College holds fast to the timeless values of its rich heritage while embracing advanced technology in the service of education.
That's Keedron Clark's mom, who made the trip up from Jersey to see her son play for St. Peter's. And Keedron Clark told us earlier this year he'd trade away all the points for a chance to win the MAAC tournament.
I don't care if I have 10 points and my team win. I'm happy. You know, if I go out and have 40 points and then we lose, it was for what? You know, you didn't help your team accomplish their goal and winning the game. So I trade my points in any day for the opportunity that my best friend Jason Wingate had of going to the NCAA tournament twice.
And so Keidron Clark, well, a little bit closer to making it to the NCAA tournament. Still a long ways to go this weekend, but he and the official Tom Lopes sharing a light moment. Reason to smile because his club's on top by 22.
You know, sometimes you hear players say that, and you say, well, they're just saying that because that's what they're supposed to say. But with Kiki, you can see it.
Yep.
I mean, he absolutely means that. There's no question he would toss in a couple of those points for a trip to the NCAA tournament.
Well, he's only 20 away from 3,000 career points, and at the rate we're going, it looks like he'll have another opportunity tomorrow night against Siena in round number 2 to add to that total.
And talking with Bobby Leckie, you said, you know, you don't even say don't worry about it to a certain extent. How can you say that? You know that when somebody's closing in on 3,000 points, it's got to be in the back of his mind. But what he did is he said we focused on saying, you know what, the easiest way to get to 3,000 is make sure we keep playing a couple games. And certainly it looks like that has worked here because he's gotten good help from his teammates.
Good help defense. Jason Thompson with a block shot, but he couldn't locate the outlet pass, and so the Peacocks have numbers back at the other end, and Kamandre O's goes right over top of Munoz for 2.
And he has an easy 2 because of another terrific feed inside by the freshman Kevin Spann.
Now, O's has had a terrific finish to the season for St. Peter's. He scored 14 in the regular season finale against Rider last weekend. Mouton still looking for his first field goal tonight for the Bronx.
We talked about the great floor game so far by Kevin Spann. Leaves his feet. A dart right there to find O's inside. Spann has had a terrific all-around game. He's knocked down threes to keep the defense honest, and then he's done a terrific job of creating some easy shots for the big guys inside.
Lamar Johnson and Rodney Pierce defensively in the backcourt, along with Mouton for Rider. Munoz and Thompson up front. Keidron Clark with a shot clock down to 13. Nice job by Mouton to hang with Clark and get the block shot. Lamar Johnson has it knocked away by Spann, who continues to play a terrific game, directing traffic as he gets to the front court. O's able to finish.
Well, how about that? The steal on one end, the presence of mind to push the pace, and yet another assist for the freshman Spann. Last 2 times it's been O's at the receiving end of some terrific passes by Spann.
And while you'll never expect Kevin Spann to fill the shoes of Keidron Clark over the next 3 years, you start to get the sense here in the later part of the season, Rob, that, you know, the baton is being passed from senior to freshman.
And certainly he'll be a much different point guard than Kiki Clark has been. Certainly not a guy that's going to score 3,000 points. You don't expect to see that, but certainly has settled in and been very consistent for a freshman leading this team. And he's done it at both ends of the floor, just as his buddy Kiki Clark has done. A nice steal right there, the quick hands, and then draws the defense and gives the basketball up to O's, who finishes out on the break.
Now Kevin Spann's given name is Abraham, but he goes by Kevin. That's Kamandre O's, who finished on that transition. This season, Aeropostale will donate an article of clothing for every free throw made during conference play. And at the end of the season, Aeropostale and the MAAC will distribute these clothes to youth groups in our communities. And at the end of this season, over 2,700 foul shots made. Thank you very much to Aeropostale. Jason Thompson, the sophomore out of Mount Laurel, New Jersey, makes 1 out of 2. He's got 14 points to lead Rider.
And his brother will step in next year and be his teammate once again. They were teammates in high school, be teammates here at Rider, as his brother has signed during the early signing period. And Ryan, a senior at Lenape High School, will be playing for Rider next year.
And he's only 6'5", and if he keeps growing like his brother keeps growing, I mean, Jason was only 6'9" when he got to campus. He's up to 6'10" now as a sophomore. That could be a heck of a duo, even if they stay at the size they are. But if they keep growing, look out.
They're different players, but Jason Thompson, I mean, he's 6'10" in every bit of 6'10". Most of the time, you know, guys stretch it a little bit. You see 6'10" on the roster. They're really around 6'8". He's every bit of 6'10".
Little extracurricular.
And a frustration play by Jason Thompson as he gets involved with the extracurricular activity after the play, and he gets whistled for a tee.
Well, the officials sort things out. Thompson with a little shove as we take another look from the other baseline. It looked like O's maybe gave him an elbow, and Thompson responded with a shove, and they both get technicals for their trouble.
I think they definitely got Thompson. I don't know whether or not it was a double technical or just a technical on Thompson.
If they take another look at the replay, maybe Mr. Rose will get himself into that technical column, because it looked to me, especially from that second angle we had from the other baseline, that Mr. Thompson didn't just shove him for no cause. Lamar Johnson gets the personal foul, and then the technical against Jason Thompson. And Camandreos did get a technical, so the officials did catch both sides of that. Sometimes you only catch the second one, but the officials right on the ball here.
They didn't need to look at the replay. They got it right the first time around.
And so Camandreos, one of the offenders and one of the offendees at the line.
St. Peter's had a disappointing finish to this season. I mean, they had two terrific wins on the road back-to-back at Iona and at Marist. They certainly held destiny in their own hands, but then kicked a couple away.
Well, we're glad you could be with us here at the Pepsi Arena in Albany, round one of the 2006 MAAC basketball tournament. This is Doug Sherman along with Rob Kennedy. We've got two more ball games coming up tonight as the first round is played. And again, because of the double bye given to the regular season champion Manhattan, we don't really have your classic quarterfinal, semifinal setup. It's a first round, a second round, then you've got the semifinals with 4 teams, and then, of course, the finals on Monday night.
And certainly that setup with the brackets has benefited the top seed. Each of the first 3 years it's been in play. Manhattan won it the first 2 years, and last year Niagara took full advantage of the double bye as they were able to beat Rider in the championship game and route to their NCAA tournament appearance.
And coming up after this one, we'll get a chance to see the defending champs. Joe Mihalik and his Niagara Purple Eagles will take on Fairfield in the 7-8 game, to be followed by the nightcap here this evening, Canisius and Loyola, as we steamroll towards midnight. You know, on nights like this in the history of the tournament, Rob.
Especially in this building. 2 years ago, it was well past midnight a couple nights.
Well, this building has hosted 12 of the 25 MAAC tournaments. And Siena didn't join the MAAC until the 1989-90 season. So since the host school joined the MAAC, this has been the primary postseason home for the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference. And as you see, the 2 games coming up later tonight on Fox Sports New York, 7 o'clock and 9:15. And, of course, those are all subject to change, although I don't see overtime in our future in this ball game. A little more physical play underneath as these two in-state rivals from the state of New Jersey are playing a one-sided game. So we take another look, and, you know, the shaved head, in theory, might have been something fun to get the juices flowing for Ryder, but it has not come to fruition.
Yeah, a little motivation. Sometimes it helps in a pool if you're a swimmer, cut things down. You still got to come out and execute. St. Peter's a team that has stepped out right from the get-go, set the tone early. Kiki Clark deferring to his teammates, and his teammates all stepping up, including Todd Sowell, who's en route. Oh, almost had it there. He's got 13 double-doubles, well on his way to 14.
And then the leading steal man in St. Peter's history, Keidron Clark, picked up another steal. He's the steals king and the scoring king, and gets his Peacocks another opportunity. And again, with 8:13 to go in regulation, Camandreos lays it in off the nice feed from Spann. If you're Bob Lucky, at what point do you start clearing the bench?
As we said, you've got to win 4 games in 4 days. It's only happened one time. The only time that Siena won the championship in this building a couple years ago. So I think you've got to get your guys some rest. And again, you're coaching and you're Bob Leckie, and you've seen Keidron Clark do so many things. He's the one guy that maybe you keep out there because you know, everybody wants Kiki to get 3,000. That's associated with the St. Peter's program. All these players do, and so does Bobby Leckie as well.
Raul Orta now into double figures with a dozen, and a timeout is called by Ryder. Well, let's turn back the clock just 5 days to an instant classic in Riverdale, New York. We talked about it earlier, but the regular season finale with the championship on the line between Iona and Manhattan was one to remember.
And sometimes with a game with all that build-up doesn't live up to the pregame hype, but certainly this one did. I mean, both these teams were all fired up going in, but as we take a look here, well, Calvin Murphy, if he was playing in that game, certainly would have worked.
No doubt about that. Calvin, the former Niagara University star, certainly could have played.
Well, it's all right.
A key role.
Every once in a while, you got to fake right and go left.
Nothing wrong with that.
No.
But and it doesn't diminish that wonderful game from last Sunday. We will get the right tape for you and show you that once again. And both the Jaspers and the Gales receiving first-round byes, so we won't see them tonight, but we will see Iona play tomorrow, and we'll get a chance to see Manhattan play in the semifinals on Sunday night. Thompson has it knocked out of bounds by Sowell. And I promise you we will see the instant classic from last Sunday when we come back. 67-39 St. Peter's. St. Peter's 67, Ryder 39. And now let's flash back 5 days to the Bronx, where Manhattan pulled out a thriller against Iona for the regular season title.
Oh, there's great atmosphere. Both teams getting after it. Terrific guard play, as you would expect. Stevie Burt got off early, especially in the first half, knocking down threes, shaking loose defenders. But this was a game that every time it looked like Iona was going to pull away, Manhattan had an answer. Jeff Xavier with a terrific game. Arturo Dubois able to score the basketball inside, but really it was the senior that stepped up. Jason Wingate made the biggest plays at the biggest times, including this basket right there that broke the tie. And then all of a sudden, they were dancing in Riverdale with a terrific 4-point win that gets them the double bye. They want to make sure that this isn't the only dance that they have. They want to try to make sure they can dance here Monday night on this Pepsi Arena floor as well.
Absolutely, Robin. With the excitement that we felt at Draddy Gymnasium, I'd be stunned if a good segment of the student body didn't make its way north on Route 87 Sunday, and certainly Monday if the Jaspers make it that far. And the same could be said for the Iona fans. Absolutely. Because there was just as strong a presence from the student body from Iona at that game, and I would think those kids who caught MAAC fever, caught March Madness, would make that trip up because it's only a couple of hours up the thruway.
Absolutely. If you were at that game, you know, you saw a classic college basketball game. This certainly has not been a classic game nor a classic year for Tommy Dempsey. Struggling coming down. They've now lost 6 in a row. This will be 7 in a row. 9 out of 10. But as we've said, he never lost his team. This is one of the few times they've really come out flat. They just did not have it here this evening.
Adrian Clark now with 18 points to lead all scorers. Jason Thompson has 16 to lead Ryder. Now Munoz is replaced. Barney Anderson into the game, and you see Mouton. He's probably wondering, is this it for my college career with 6:57 to go?
And certainly he came out, and especially there in the first half, Munoz stepping up and making shots. He had a lot of energy, but it looks like his career here at Ryder will be done. Shaking hands with the coaches as he came out. Not quite the senior year that he had hoped for, but remember, right from the start, it's not the senior year that he expected. Expected to be coached by Don Harnum. Don Harnum steps down, becomes the interim athletic director, and he plays his final season under Tommy Dempsey, and it really fell apart down the stretch.
Raul Orta couldn't find a teammate on the inbound, and so he smartly uses a timeout. And there you see Keedron Clark continuing to coach his younger teammates, Kamandre O's. Taking a listen to Keedron Kiki Clark. There you see his updated numbers, and they just continue to grow. And again, those points, 1902 in his MAAC career. Overall, he's nearly 3,000.
Closing in on that magical number, needed 37 coming into the game. He
passed Lionel Simmons, the former LaSalle star, to be the all-time league score. Fans, don't miss your chance to help the MAAC celebrate its 25th anniversary by voting for the best 25 athletes in MAAC history on MAACsports.com, where you can always stay connected to the MAAC and your favorite players. And where would you put Keidron Clark in that pantheon of great stars over the 25 years of this league, Rob?
Well, certainly he's right up there, a guy that's got to be, if you have a 25-team 25th anniversary team, he's clearly going to be on it, the all-time leader in MAAC history. And what he's done, as well as putting up those incredible numbers, but getting St. Peter's back on the map. This was a program that was really in trouble at that point in time, and certainly Kiki Clark, the first guy to buy into what Bobby Leckie was trying to do to reestablish the program. When he came, now all of a sudden they're winning games, having winning season, winning games in the MAAC tournament, and now others aren't afraid to follow his footsteps. You look at some of these young guys, and they've really developed as the season has gone on. So Kiki Clark's ability to score the basketball has done a lot more than just put points on the board. It's put this program back on solid footing, and that really will be his legacy.
And he's about to lead his team into the second round of the MAAC tournament in 5 minutes and 44 seconds. And off the bench, knocking down the three, Derek Hooker, a senior from Newark, New Jersey.
And everybody getting involved. That was one of their keys coming in. Couldn't have worked out any better. Kiki Clark with a very quiet 19 points, and everybody else has stepped up and contributed.
Foul against Kamandre O's. Paul Johnson at the line after getting popped in the face. This another senior for Rider University who is winding down his college career. He's got 4 points now here tonight.
And he has had a rock-solid senior season, certainly his best of his 4 years at Rider. A guy who's stepped up well beyond just a role player and has really emerged as a leader this season for Tommy Dempsey.
Tim Spittler has come into the game for St. Peter's, replacing O's. This is Spittler, a walk-on with the Peacocks, to another walk-on, Derek Hooker.
Bob Leckie's done a good job of getting guys minutes, but not just emptying his bench, not just putting 5 new players on the floor, keeping a couple guys out there to make sure that the game does not deteriorate coming down the stretch.
And Todd Sowell still in the ball game, 1 point away from another double-double as he tries to become the first Peacock in over 30 years to average a double-double. And there's another rebound right on cue for the big sophomore.
And talk about guys who have made an improvement. If the MAAC had a most improved player, there's no question that would be Todd Sowell. Limited minutes and limited production in his freshman year. He's become a force inside this year in his sophomore season.
Now the Peacocks are on their way to their biggest blowout victory of the year. The largest margin of victory for SPC was 20 points back in January over Niagara, 79-59, and they appear headed on the way to having a bigger margin here tonight.
And amazingly enough, these two Jersey rivals have had some epic battles in the MAAC tournament. Each of the last 2 times they've met, the game has gone into overtime. That's certainly not going to happen here this evening.
Got a foul call as St. Peter's did not run a very pretty fast break. They had a 3 and then a 4-on-1, and the best they can come away with is a foul. Well, Fidelis Care is proud to sponsor the Fidelis Care family section, including Keidron Clark's mom, who makes every ball game. Fidelis Care, providing free or low-cost health insurance to all New Yorkers through the Child and Family Health Plus programs. And yes, they're looking up at the Jumbotron here above the Pepsi Arena. And some of the Keidron Clark family members had a terrific ceremony late last week in the regular season home finale for St. Peter's. We showed a little bit of it earlier tonight, and you know, it's just been class all the way. And again, another way to remember George Jefferson, their fallen teammate who died over the summer and was the roommate and best friend of Keidron Clark. And there you see his number 23 on the jersey, as this year has been dedicated to the memory of George Jefferson. Big number 1, Brandon Brock, a freshman from Newburgh, into the game. And we had a chance before the game to get a good shot at Keidron Clark's sneakers. That word grandpa there is in remembrance of Keidron Clark's maternal grandfather, who passed away earlier this year. And of course, he's also got all sorts of markings on there to remember his best friend George Jefferson. So those are the sneakers he wears into battle every night. Just over 4 minutes to go in the first round. We've got Fairfield and Niagara coming up next in this opening round of the Citizens Bank MAAC tournament.
As we talked about for St. Peter's right now, you're just trying to accomplish two things as you get into the second round. You want fresh legs, get guys off the bench, and get in on a nice, good roll. I mean, they've certainly had a terrific performance, up by 29. You just want to make sure you get to the locker room without anybody getting hurt and with everything still on a good positive note.
And it looks like at the next dead ball, Bob Leckie will take Keedron Clark out of the game as he has 3 players at the scores table. Brock is fouled on his strong drive to the basket. We'll take a break with a timeout on the floor. Keedron Clark's night is done. 19 points. And he'll earn a spot in round 2 of the MAAC tournament as Peacocks on top big. Brandon Brock out of Newburgh Free Academy has himself into the scorers column. And now Keedron Clark will get the official bon voyage. 19 points for the senior guard. And he will be rested and ready to play game 2 because game 1 really was not that taxing.
And as we said, the key for him to get to 3,000 points, play a couple games up here in Albany. He's got the opportunity to build upon that. Had a quiet 19 here today. En route to that 3,000, came in needing 37.
Harris Mansell for 3, and we had the soundbite earlier in the ballgame from Keedron talking about his wish to play in the postseason, either the NCAA or NIT, and you know that he'd give up all of his points, and he's kind of done that here tonight. He has shown that, as you said, Rob, it's not just something that's said because it's popular in front of a TV camera. He puts it into play when he gets on the floor.
Yeah, if he and his coaches and everybody's worrying about 3,000, he's still in the game. They're not worrying about that. They want to try and get on a run here and get themselves into the NCAA tournament.
Brock has it knocked away by Lamar Johnson. And then another Ryder turnover. Brock comes up short on the rebound off the nice feed from Michael Gore, another freshman from Cumberland, Rhode Island, who's gotten into the game for Bob Leckie's Peacocks.
And certainly for Ryder, just throw this one away. You've got a young team and certainly some explosive young guards. You've got to build upon that. And first thing they've got to do is settle their coaching situation. Don Harnum's got to figure out what he's doing, whether or not he'll be the athletic director or step back in to the head coaching position. And if Tom Dempsey gets the opportunity to do that, he certainly has shown his ability to coach, not just this season, but prior to this year. Had a tremendous record coming in, 88-12 as a junior college head coach. Even though this season didn't work its way out, never lost the team, although they did not show up here to play today.
Spittler with a strong drive. And so Tim Spittler, the sophomore out of St. Joe's in Buffalo, has himself in the scoring column. Well, Ryder will end its season with an 8-20 record. In spite of the fact that our Pepsi Slam of the game goes to the top star for the Bronx, Jason Thompson, on the putback. The follow slam. To take another look at our Pepsi Slam of the game. Pepsi, it's the cola.
And certainly you saw what Jason Thompson can do, and a guy that will be the centerpiece for this Ryder program as they try and rebound off a very disappointing 8-20 season.
Thompson scored 16 tonight. Edwin Munoz, who's been on the bench for the last 5 minutes, has 10 in his final game as a Bronc.
Next up for St. Peter's will be Siena, the surprise number 4 seed. Those two teams split their regular season meetings, both teams winning at home.
Willie Dingle has also come into the game for Ryder, a 6'9 junior from Akron, Ohio. Traore, strong drive to the basket. Dingle commits the foul.
So, as we said, everybody getting involved. Traore, the freshman who doesn't play a whole lot of minutes, averages under 1 point per game.
And coming up next, we will switch over to Fox Sports New York for our 7 o'clock tip between Fairfield and Niagara. And then the nightcap of our opening round of the MAAC tournament, Canisius and Loyola, scheduled to start at 9:15. And today's Pepsi player of the game Well, we had a lot to choose from for St. Peter's as we mulled it over, chatted with the guys in the truck. We could have gone in several different directions, but we have come to a determination. We'll let you know in a moment.
And for St. Peter's, a dominating win, and it is, as you said, Doug, not a very taxing win. You certainly got an opportunity to rest some guys, didn't have to exert a whole lot of energy here in this second half. And that will pay dividends tomorrow night as they will take on Siena in our second round.
10 different Peacocks have scored in this ball game. They've got the comfortable 29-point lead. Spittler shovels it off. Traore couldn't finish. And that's going to do it. The first game of the 2006 MAAC basketball tournament is in the books. St. Peter's with an impressive 80-51 win. And our Pepsi player of the game is Kevin Spann with a career-high 6 steals to go along with a near double-double. 12 points, 8 assists. Very efficient from the floor as well, hitting 4 out of 6 from beyond the arc. So Kevin Spann, our Pepsi player of the game. Pepsi, it's the cola. We'll take a break and come back to wrap things up as the Peacocks eliminate the Bronx from the MAAC tournament. Jason Thompson's season is over. 80-51 our final score.